Hello and welcome to Thursday. I am continuing my E3 coverage. 2 days ago, I did Microsoft's conference. Yesterday, I did Sony's conference. Today, I am taking a look at Nintendo's conference. And then I found out there is no conference. But wait, that's okay. A lot of the times, they don't have a conference. They just do a Nintendo Direct. And then I found out there's not a Nintendo Direct. And I'm like, okay, well, what the crap are they doing? So apparently what happened was they did a live event. And that video is now on YouTube. And that is what I wanted to watch. It's 8 hours long, which, as you may expect, is really long. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be kind of jumping through it and giving my thoughts. I can tell that they're really pushing Zelda, though. So this thing could just entirely be about Zelda, which is fine. I'm going to talk about whatever they put in this video. There might be other stuff that they want you to see, but they didn't have a conference, and they didn't have a Nintendo Direct, and I'm not going to look all around their stupid channel picking in pieces here and there. I'm just going to scrub through this and give opinions where I see fit. So without further ado, the Nintendo conference, I guess. Let's get started. There's like a million people sitting around talking about Pokemon Go. If you don't know what Pokemon Go is, it's this new smartphone app that will allow you to capture Pokemon in real life. I don't know if it's any good or not yet, but Nintendo, it looks like they're starting to push it a little bit more. They talk about Pokemon Go for at least 45 minutes, at the very least. And then we have a shot where we'll be right back. Looks like the set inside of E3 is very much Zelda themed. Now we're seeing a trailer for a new IP for the 3DS. It's Crystal Chronicles! It's not Crystal Chronicles. It actually has a bit of a Crystal Chronicles vibe, so that's not too far off. Ever Oasis. It's a game about being perpetually thirsty. Apparently this Ever Oasis game is being worked on by this dude who worked on the first few Final Fantasies and apparently designed like the Chocobo and created the job system. So apparently he's had deep roots in the, in the RPG genre. I'm kind of scrubbing through to get an idea of what's going on, but also I gotta be blunt. Like, having this live stream format is terrible. Like, it's really bad. Earlier we were kind of comparing like Microsoft and Sony, because on Microsoft they were doing kind of flashy, Sony went kind of classy, and like Nintendo's is fine if you're going to sit down and watch the live stream, but to actually try and treat it as a press conference, it's really not. Like, the best thing you could do is go to their channel and probably just watch the various trailers for games, and it's still not going to be quite the same thing. But I'm trying to work with this and not watch 8 hours, and like you can hear the E3 crowds in the background. I'm going to move forward and see about some other games. The game actually looks really good. I kind of wonder if it's multiplayer. Right now, I think the person playing is just switching between all the characters, but it'd be really cool if you could play multiplayer and everyone had, their own player. I just remember when I was a kid, it was a big deal having multiplayer handheld games, and I just really enjoyed that. And I don't really play them now that I'm older, but if there was something very compelling, like Mal and I would play together. Next up is a sequel to Box Boy.
So I'm going to start and just kind of go over, maybe some basics. Let's go to like World War I.
Did he just say, let's go to World War I? He totally just said, let's go to World War I. I never played the original Box Boy, but I remember whenever they were showing it on, I guess, some E3 or Nintendo Direct a million years ago, and it looked interesting. And this looks interesting. But, like, within the first few minutes, I feel like, yeah, I got it. And now I'm curious, like, how long do they talk about Box Boy? Because it starts at, like, 157... Yeah, they spent about 20 minutes. So we're going to move on to the next game. Okay, now they're playing a Mario Party-esque game for 3DS, and they were announcing which characters they are, and they all, like, completely screwed it up. They were like, I'm green, but they weren't. They were, like, yellow. They're like, oh, wait, I'm the wrong color. This Mario Party game is actually pretty interesting looking. It's not very traditional. There was just a cooperative boss fight, or semi-cooperative. I mean, you're still competitive, but like everyone moves like on their own, and the board isn't like a game board. It's like tile based, and you can move anywhere. It's still kind of Mario Party, but it's also very, very different. Next up, they're showing off Yokai Watch 2. I've never played Yokai Watch, the first one, but I have a few friends that are really obsessed with it, and I didn't really know anything about it, but it looks a lot like Pokemon, so I'm guessing that it works similar to that. I'm watching the actual battle system of this game, trying to understand it. Once again, it's like 40 minutes long. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. But it's some sort of traditional RPG, but at the same time, like, you like draw on screen in order to do things, and like you interact with the touch screen in order to battle, which is kind of neat. It's kind of neat. Also separates it quite a bit from Pokemon. And you guys can let me know. Maybe I'm completely off base with the Pokemon thing, but that's the impression that I got. Not all monsters were hunted. It's Monster Hunter. It's a series that I've never played, but have been exposed to like multiple times through various E3s, friends that have played it. But like, it feels, I'm probably off base, but it feels like there's like a new game every year at this point. Maybe I'm just really old, and it just feels like that. But there's, I mean, it's always seemed interesting, and the people that like it love it. So I'm sure it's good. And I really liked the idea of, like, the multiplayer aspect of it, being able to, once again, I said it before, like, multiplayer handheld stuff. But I've just never played it. Speaking of multiplayer, there's actually some multiplayer footage. I assume that would be an appeal. And it's really cool to see, you know, 4 people on 3DS playing like an action RPG like this. Next up, they're showing off Dragon Quest VII for the Nintendo 3DS, which is super cool because it came out in 2001, I believe, for the PS2. I believe it was originally released on the PS2. And the fact that we are now having, you know, ports of PS2 games to the 3DS is really neat, honestly. I never played it, and I've never really played any of the Dragon Quest games, which I know is now a theme for this conference. It's like, oh, there's a lot of games in series I've just never played. But it's cool that we're taking games from 15 years ago and breathing new life into them. I'm always a fan of that. So next up, they're showing the, I can never remember the name of this game, Fire Emblem X Shin Megami Tensei Sharp FE. I think I actually maybe got it right. I don't know. It's complex. It's very, very complex. It's a very traditional RPG, and there's a lot of complexity within the battle system, which is neat. The other thing that I'm particularly interested in is the fact that it's all taking place in Tokyo, like actual places in Tokyo, and it's very surreal, it's very stylized, but it's still really neat because we just got back from Tokyo, so coming off of that trip, like actually being there and then seeing some of the scenes where they were walking down the street, it was really neat. As far as the game itself, I don't have particular interest, but apparently, you know, people that are into obviously Shin Megami Tensei or Fire Emblem would probably get something out of it. They're showing a trailer right now for Paper Mario Color Splash, and the narrator is bad. Like, it's like, I don't understand what's happening. It sounds like someone at E3 is just doing the voiceover for this trailer. But I don't think they are, and that is worrisome.
It's a sign that points to only one destination.
Like, not only is the delivery of the lines really bad, but like the quality of the narrator recording is bad. What's happening right now? I'm seriously trying to analyze what the heck's going on with this trailer. I think the trailer has no narrator dialogue. That's what I think. I think this is just what you're seeing, like, is how it is. And then Nintendo thought for some reason that during the E3 coverage they needed to have someone talk over it to explain what we can already see. That's the only explanation I can come up with because this is really bad. Okay, yes, that last theory is definitely correct. This is all stuff that would be happening without narration, and for some reason they've added narration. Very, very bad narration. This Paper Mario game actually looks really interesting. The set design, the construction of the levels interesting to see, obviously, the construction paper and paper aesthetic to a, I don't know, a much more realistic degree, however more realistic that can get. Also, while you're going through the world, you have spots of color that are missing, and you use your hammer to like add paint to places, and you get like little bonuses. So like on screen here, you see that in the top left there's a paint meter, so you actually have red, blue, yellow paint, and I think you can even combine them. I guess you combine button presses to make different colors like purple and green, so you can do all of these different things, and you're trying to fill in these holes. But it also the paint mechanic extends into the battle system, which is weird, which is admittedly very weird, because you have cards, and you collect cards, and you paint them to do more damage. I don't know how I feel about that, but so far, just looking at it, it seems interesting, and it seems very Paper Mario. So here they're showing off some of the card selections. They have a bunch of different cards, and then you flick it off of the screen. I feel like in many ways that would get old really quick. Often I find myself just thinking, why don't you just make it simple? Just let me play it like, you know, an RPG or whatever. That said, it doesn't look particularly bad. But you choose a card, and then that's its own attack. It's its own level of damage. But if you want, you can color it and do extra. There's some sort of mechanic where you can actually cut out parts of the level, which is interesting. And then it kind of becomes like 2D, so you can get to your goal. I mean, it's done in particular places. I'm sure you can't just go throughout the game doing that all willy-nilly wherever you please, but that's kind of neat. So we're finally getting to Zelda footage, and we're just jumping right into the middle of it, which is making me think that this is probably a terrible video to start on to learn about the new Zelda game. That said, I'm going to keep watching, scrub through, learn more about this. It feels different. Like, just seeing a few minutes of this, like, the game feels very different, and it feels open world. I'm looking at the radar in the bottom, and like there's a clock. It looks to be some sort of thermometer. I'm not really sure what that's about. As Link got closer to it, it moved closer to hot, to the fire. So I'm wondering if maybe that's like his internal body temperature or something. It just came up and said your traveler's bow is badly damaged. So apparently your weapons even take damage. It's very odd. It's very odd. I remember hearing about this game being more open world, and hearing some stuff about it being like compared to something even like Skyrim, and it's so strange because, you know, you get used to the series for 20 or more years, and they're suddenly changing it up, which is not bad at all. And I love. I'm someone that's not real scared of change and doesn't really mind when they like go in wild new directions. It's just really weird to see that with a Zelda game. Link is now surfing down he caught himself in midair, but he was surfing down an ice, a snowy path. I'm seeing a lot of cool, interesting, good things. A completely new direction for the series sounds great. I never played Skyward Sword, so I haven't played that one. I didn't play the other 3DS one either. But the formula for Zelda it's a formula. Like, it's extremely formulaic. So for them to, take that formula and be like, nah, let's take a hammer and smash it a lot, that's great. That sounds awesome. It's amazing how much the series has changed. Like, there's definitely similarities, and there's enough there that you could say, yeah, I'm watching Zelda, but there's also a lot of differences. I just saw the horse, saw Epona. So you have that familiar aspect as well. But you can jump in the air and like slow down time to like accurately shoot with your bow. It's crazy. Next up, they're showing off a Rhythm Heaven game for 3DS. And I've never played that series, but I've seen bits and pieces of it over the years, and I've been like, that looks like something I'd really enjoy. I love rhythm-based games, and now I'm watching this, and I'm like, I should play this. Like, I should get a hold of a different Rhythm Heaven game and like give it a shot, because I have a feeling I'd really like it. I find it really hard to watch footage of this game without like tapping my foot along to the beat. It's over! But I saw very little Zelda, so I am going to go seek out a little more Zelda. I'm trying to watch the official game trailer for Legend of Zelda in 1080, but it doesn't exist. It's a little worrisome that it's not available in 1080, but sure, let's give it a shot. Link can climb all the things. That's what I'm learning right now. And he can chop down trees to make a bridge. Take off his clothes, go for a swim, shoot a boar in the eye, make a forest fire, cook food, piss off some bees, use them as a weapon, throw a boulder, run with a GPS system. Oh, I don't know what's happening right now. He made ice. Wait, what? He's like manipulating space and time right now. The game feels different just through the trailers. Like, just watching the trailers, the scope of the game is completely different. And they're doing that through use of like extremely, zoomed out, wide camera angles. But it's effective. And then we cut back to the sword shot so you remember that, no, it's a Zelda game. You're safe here. You thought that it was just a very strange looking Skyrim. No, it's Zelda. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Huh. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. And I know I said that whenever I was looking at the other footage, but I'm excited to see, what they do with it. Anyway, I know there were other games. There's like Pokemon Sun and Moon and stuff like that, but they didn't talk about that in the conference, and I think I'm going to avoid that. I think I'm going to say I scrubbed through an 8-hour conference. I did pretty good. I watched the Zelda Breath of the Wild trailer, and I feel okay. So how do I feel Nintendo did? Well, it's kind of hard to compare them because they didn't do a conference. They didn't do a Nintendo Direct. They did this, this weird thing where they're just talking live. I don't prefer that. I'll go ahead and say that right now. I don't prefer that at all. I would rather them prepare a 45-minute presentation and say, hey, here's the video, watch it. It makes my life a lot easier. It makes the information that they're trying to distribute far more coherent instead of just like... and also, it probably has a better chance of having their products be seen because, I scrubbed through a thing, and there's videos on their channel that are, trailers or whatever you can watch, but people aren't going to watch them. There's going to be some people that come and they're like, yeah, I'm going to watch everything, but most people aren't. Most people are going to look for something they know. If you just do a Nintendo Direct and you throw all of that stuff in there, there's going to be products that people see that they would not have seen otherwise. So as far as this format, bad. Dislike heavily. Would prefer them to do a Nintendo Direct or maybe even do a actual press conference if they want next year. That said, product shown, nothing particularly bad. About on par with Microsoft's, in my opinion. Just a bunch of stuff that it doesn't look bad, but it's just stuff that I am not personally interested in. Out of everything, the most compelling things to me were Paper Mario to an extent. Like, I don't think I will actually play it, but it looks pretty interesting. And then, of course, it's Zelda. And they knew it was Zelda. They've been pushing Zelda really hard. And I have to admit, I'm interested in Zelda. I am legitimately interested in Zelda. We have been, kind of preparing to do an Ocarina of Time Let's Play, probably this year. And I can't help but really actually want to play Breath of the Wild, particularly because I 100%ed Skyrim, and it has a very Skyrim-esque feel, and I think it would be fun to play through that. And I know it's stupid to try and announce like a Let's Play now, but like I would be seriously interested in doing a turn-taking Let's Play with Mal like we did for Twilight Princess on a brand new Zelda game, especially when we're going into it blind and we have no idea what's going on. So that's intriguing, and that could be fun. Especially knowing what I do now, seeing that. It is definitely interesting. Anyway, that's it for my E3 coverage. Some people might be wondering, well, what are the other ones? EA, Ubisoft, and Bethesda. I'm not going to watch them. And the reason I don't watch them is because I never watch them. I only watch the big three. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here for ever. And it took me 3 days to watch 3 conferences, so I'm not going to do that. Tomorrow on the vlog, I'll talk a little bit little bit about those conferences. I haven't watched them, but I've seen some of the information that's come out of them. I'll talk about that tomorrow and kind of give a wrap up of all the stuff of E3. But as far as Nintendo goes, it was not bad. Zelda was definitely their pride and joy, and I really hated the format that they presented this information. But all things considered, you know, the games and stuff, they don't look bad. They don't look particularly for me, but Zelda, yes. Yeah, I want to play Zelda. Talk about what you thought about Nintendo down below. Not only the games, but also their format. Would you guys like to see a Nintendo Direct next year? Because I would. I know that they do them throughout the year, but E3 is kind of a big deal, a big event, and I would have, honestly, I think I would have preferred to just see a video. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?